Dr. Wendy Osefo had probably a pretty amazing, unproblematic season, and I love that for her. But Karen Huger intentionally not thanking Wendy just reminded all of us, even if you were a fan of Karen, of exactly who Karen Huger really is: delusional.
The Real Housewives of Potomac reunion always brings the heat, but this season is on another level. From the moment the reunion trailer dropped, fans have been buzzing about one explosive moment: Dr. Wendy Osefo calling out Karen Huger in a way that left everyone stunned. And trust me, this wasn't just a comment or an argument. Wendy went straight for Karen's credibility, questioning her honesty in a way that no one expected. It all started when Karen made a shocking confession. She revealed something deeply personal, something that at first had the other housewives offering their support. She spoke about the struggles she had been dealing with behind the scenes, the pressure of being in the public eye, and how it had taken a toll on her. Her words were emotional, raw, and powerful. It seemed like a genuine moment of vulnerability. But here's where things took a turn. Wendy wasn't buying it. She sat back, watched Karen speak, and didn't seem moved like the others. Instead, she looked suspicious, like she was putting pieces together in her mind, and when she finally spoke up, she shook the entire room. Wendy didn't just question Karen privately, she confronted her on national television. She looked her dead in the eye and asked the one question that changed everything. "Karen, why did you really do this?" The room went silent. The other housewives exchanged glances, unsure of what was happening. Even Andy Cohen seemed taken aback, but Wendy wasn't done. She laid out her reasons for doubting Karen's story, bringing up past patterns, inconsistencies, and a theory that left everyone gasping. And just like that, the moment of support turned into a full-blown interrogation. But what exactly did Wendy expose? And why does she believe Karen isn't telling the full truth? Karen opened up about going through a tough time. She spoke about personal struggles, hinting at emotional and financial stress that had been weighing on her. It was a rare moment of vulnerability from someone who is usually so guarded. The other housewives seemed to sympathize, offering words of encouragement. Even fans were touched, with many expressing support for Karen on social media. But Dr. Wendy Osefo wasn't convinced. Something about Karen's confession didn't sit right with her. Instead of jumping in with comfort like the others, Wendy remained quiet, watching carefully. To those paying attention, her body language said it all. She wasn't buying it. Wendy has always prided herself on being sharp, analytical, and able to see through the smoke and mirrors. And in that moment, it was clear she was onto something. Then came the bombshell moment. With a calm but pointed tone, Wendy asked, "Karen, are you telling the truth, or are you just controlling the narrative again?" The energy in the room shifted immediately. The housewives, who had been nodding in support just moments earlier, now exchanged uneasy glances. Karen's expression changed. Her confidence wavered for the first time. For a split second, it looked like she had been caught off guard. But Karen is no rookie when it comes to handling pressure, and she quickly tried to regain control of the conversation. She denied any dishonesty, insisting that her struggles were real and that she had nothing to hide. But Wendy wasn't letting this go. She pressed further, pointing out inconsistencies in Karen's past statements. She reminded everyone that Karen had a history of selectively revealing information when it suited her, carefully crafting a version of events that protected her image. And now Wendy was suggesting that Karen was doing it again, playing the victim to divert attention from something bigger. This wasn't just a casual call-out. Wendy had done her research. She brought up specific past moments where Karen's stories didn't add up, times when she denied rumors only for the truth to come out later. Wendy questioned Karen's motives, implying that her emotional confession wasn't as genuine as it seemed. And the more Wendy spoke, the more the housewives started to shift in their seats. Some looked like they were beginning to doubt Karen's story, while others seemed hesitant to pick a side. Karen, of course, wasn't going down without a fight. She fired back, calling Wendy's accusations unfair and insisting that she had nothing to prove. She accused Wendy of stirring up drama for the sake of it, trying to paint her as the villain. But Wendy stayed composed, refusing to let Karen deflect the conversation. So what exactly did Wendy uncover? And why is she so convinced that Karen is hiding something? Let's break it all down.
As you notice, I'm not there. I am going away to a treatment center to address taking antidepressants and drinking. I want to get to the bottom of it. But I would be remiss if I didn't take this time to thank those who truly touched my heart during this whole process.
This is where things took a turn no one expected. Wendy didn't just question Coy's story, she came prepared with receipts. The tension in the room was already thick, but when Wendy pulled out her evidence, the mood shifted completely. "You've been through how many public crises, Karen?" Wendy asked, locking eyes with the grande dame. "And every single time, you find a way to turn yourself into the victim. Why should we believe you now?" Her words cut deep. The other housewives sat in stunned silence, their eyes darting between Wendy and Karen. Karen, who was usually quick with a comeback, seemed momentarily at a loss. She opened her mouth, then shut it again, as if trying to figure out the best way to respond. Wendy, however, wasn't giving her that time. She laid it all out, pointing to past situations where Karen had managed to dodge accountability, whether it was the questions about her marriage, the rumors about her finances, or past allegations that had mysteriously disappeared. Wendy painted a picture of someone who always found a way to rewrite history in her favor. Wendy continued, "Let's talk about patterns. Karen, every time things start to get messy, you come up with some new crisis that makes you look like the victim. And it works because we let it work." Coy managed to snap out of her shock. She fired back, saying, "I don't owe you an explanation for my personal struggles. You don't get to decide what's real and what's not." But Wendy wasn't done. She leaned forward, lowering her voice just enough to make everyone lean in. "So, you're saying this breakdown wasn't just another deflection, and that's when the real bombshell dropped." Wendy claimed that Karen's emotional confession, the one that had moved so many people, wasn't as spontaneous as it seemed. According to Wendy, it was a calculated move designed to shift attention away from something much bigger. What exactly was Karen trying to hide? Wendy wasn't spilling all the details just yet, but she made it clear there was something brewing behind the scenes, and Karen didn't want anyone looking too closely. Wendy said, "I know you, Karen, and I know when you're playing a game." The accusations were brutal. Wendy hinted at serious financial troubles that Karen had been keeping under wraps. She suggested that loyalty, whether in her friendships or even her marriage, wasn't as solid as Karen wanted people to believe. And then came the biggest shock of all. Wendy said, "Karen, you're not the victim here. You're the puppet master, and I think it's time everyone sees the truth." The room was dead silent. The other housewives weren't just watching drama unfold, they were realizing that this might be a turning point. Had Wendy just exposed the biggest scandal of the season? Karen's face was unreadable, but one thing was clear, the Grand Dame's carefully built image had just taken a major hit.
What were your reactions to the verdict, when Karen's DUI verdict?
Okay, well, you know, it's really sad. At the end of the day, I want what's best for her, and I know that watching that video was not only terrible for us watching it. I'm sure it was terrible for her as well.
That's right.
So I feel for her.
Yeah. Kiki, did you see the videos?
I did. I was horrified at everything.
Yeah.
You know, I was horrified at everything. You know, I've always loved the Grand Dame.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh no.
Yeah.
It's just speechless, and I'm just, want everybody to be safe.
Right.
Karen wasn't about to let Wendy tear her down without a fight. The moment Wendy accused her of manipulating the narrative, something in Karen snapped. The cool, composed grande dame was gone, replaced by someone ready to defend herself at all costs. Karen shot back, her voice cutting through the tense silence. "You want so badly to make me the villain, but guess what? I'm still standing and you will never take me down." The energy in the room shifted instantly. The other housewives who had been silent spectators up until now started reacting, some nodding in agreement with Karen, others exchanging skeptical glances. This wasn't just a petty argument anymore, this was war. Karen leaned forward. "You call me the puppet master, but Wendy, let's be real. Who's the one always stirring the pot? Who always has something to say about everyone else's business, but never wants the spotlight on herself?" Wendy's expression didn't change, but her silence spoke volumes. Karen saw an opening and went for it. Karen continued, "You sit there acting like you're exposing the truth, but all you're doing is throwing out accusations and hoping something sticks. If I were really hiding something, don't you think there'd be proof by now? But you have nothing, just speculation." That's when Wendy smirked, just slightly, but enough for the cameras to catch it. "Oh, Karen," she said, shaking her head, "you and I both know that's not true." The room was on edge. Karen's confidence didn't waver, but it was clear that Wendy had struck a nerve. Meanwhile, the other housewives were split. Giselle looked like she was eating up every second of the drama, while Candiegas had her arms crossed, her face unreadable. Mia seemed torn, glancing between the two women as if deciding whose side she was on. Robin, however, wasn't afraid to jump in. "Wendy, do you actually have receipts, or are we just talking in circles?" she asked, voicing what was on everyone's mind. Wendy's response was, "Let's just say the season's not over yet." And just like that, the tension skyrocketed. At this point, the fandom is completely divided. Some viewers are rallying behind Karen, convinced that Wendy is just trying to stir up drama with no solid proof. After all, Karen has faced countless rumors before, and she's always come out on top. But others were convinced Wendy had finally exposed the truth. They're dissecting Karen's every reaction, pointing out moments where she hesitated, where she stumbled over her words. To them, it's clear Karen's hiding something, and Wendy knows exactly what it is. Now, the biggest question is what happens next? Will Wendy drop even more bombshells before the season ends? And if she does, will Karen be able to survive them?
So you know Karen had to address this on her social media, and she posted this on her Instagram. So pause the video so you can read her full statement, but she's basically saying that all the ladies knew that she was going to be expanding her brand into candles and other home essentials.
If you thought this was messy, just wait, because the battle between Karen and Wendy is far from over. The tension is only getting thicker, and with every new episode, more layers to this feud are being peeled back. Wendy has made it clear that she's not done exposing Karen, but Karen isn't backing down either. And trust me, when two strong-willed women refuse to surrender, things can only go one way: absolute chaos. The other housewives are already picking sides, and the alliances we thought were solid, they're starting to crack under the pressure. The whispers about Karen's secrets are getting louder, and Wendy's confidence makes it seem like she's holding on to even more shocking receipts. But is she really exposing the truth, or is she just playing the game better than anyone else? Stay locked in, because the next chapter of this showdown might just change everything.